Okay, so just a reminder with this is that on this one triangle, I'm getting my adult learners to reflect on what they need in order to learn best. For me, like I said, was collaboration. I need to collaborate with other people. One thing that I struggle with in a workshop, doesn't matter what kind, it doesn't matter who's giving it. If they give me parts and parts and parts and parts, and I leave not knowing how those parts are connected, I'm very frustrated and angry, right? And so that's something as an adult learner I need. And then I need time to reflect and have my own aha moments, right? So this right here was the part of my sketching journey. And the other part here is what was I like as a young child, as a child learner. And so a big part of this is looking at our own learning journeys. And for me, I've learned a lot about myself within the last year. I didn't realize until my father told me in a random conversation that I was not able to speak with him for the first 5 years of my life because I only spoke Korean because I grew up in South Korea. I was born in America, but then my dad, he married a South Korean woman and was transferred back. We had no communicative interactions at all until I was entered into the US kindergarten system. And what's really fascinating is a year later, my parents divorced. And why I share that is because before they divorced, my mother told me that I wasn't allowed to be Korean anymore because in America, they don't accept people that are different. And she didn't want me to be discriminated against, have an accent. You got it, Sunita. And what's really fascinating is then I became a selective mute. So I didn't speak at all because my mother told me that my primary culture was not allowed to be spoken. So what language do I have? Nothing. I had no English, no nothing. So thankfully, my parents read to me a lot when I was a child. And somehow in my brain, I was able to code switch from Korean to English. So I don't know how I became the adult learner I am today, right? Except the help of these people on this flap here of two teachers that really took me under their wing. In 4th grade, Miss Young, and 6th grade, and Miss Hively. And ironically, I've just recently reconnected with Miss Hively as an adult. Like I found her through Facebook and we've talked like 3 times already. And we're looking to partner with some educational things. And it's interesting talking to her as an adult versus as a child, right? And some of the things she recalls about me that I didn't know about myself, which is fascinating, right? And why I'm sharing this is where we first start if we want to do this with our learners. How are we getting them to sketch random parts? Okay, it's not going to be cohesive because this type of thinking, whether this is for you as a human, and you came here because you wanted to learn how to sketch for yourself, or you want to apply this back into the classroom experience, you need to start somewhere slow, is what I'm trying to say, okay? And this possible kind of mode might be one example of how you can start, okay? What are your thoughts about that?
I think we always start with personal connection. I feel this will be a good start for everyone.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And something that I've used actually this for in content is I'll ask, I've been working with teachers and I have different partner schools and we've been trying it out in classrooms, is asking students of, okay, having them in the beginning of a text, after a few pages of a picture book or like a chapter or 2 within a novel or chapter book, is then describe what does the character look like at the beginning of the story, right? How do they act? What are their needs? How do they interact with other people? And that would be like this here, down here. And then as they progress the story at the end, then I have them come through and do this. Well, what did they look like at the end of the story? And then this rectangle part on the side is the bridge of how did they go from what they were at the beginning of the story towards the end of the story? And how did they get there? What was part of their journey to make them cross over to become different? And that's going to be your rectangle here. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay. And basically this is, and I used to think, now I think, but restructure.
Yeah.
It basically is that. And what's really fascinating is you have a lot of learners who resonate more. We've been talking a lot in the educational landscape about evidencing the learning, right?
Yeah.
But usually what teachers do with, like, I used to think, now I think they have it in 3 columns, right? Like 3 column notes. Here's what I used to think, here's now I think, and here's the evidence here in the middle. A lot of kids don't resonate with that because visually it doesn't work for their little brains. They struggle with it. So how can we then bring it so that it's a little bit easier to use? And also for you as a learner. Okay. Interesting. And so what's really fascinates me in this dialogue is, where do we then get inspiration for ourselves as adult learners? You guys have all seen the video, but I'm going to share with you a little bit of things that I didn't put in the video. Now, this right here is a sketch I made. It's the 3rd sketch I ever made. And just to give you a little context, I had been going through some negative experiences with some people who were trying to take my energy, right? And trying to kind of almost send me bad karma. And I could feel it. And I was like, no, I don't do that to you. Don't do that to me. And so I started to feel impacted by that negative energy. And by going through the sketching process, I was able, I don't know how, but I put myself as here as the agent of, no, your negative energy is going over there. And I'm going to surround myself with people who bring me positive. Right. And this active process of putting things onto paper is very therapeutic. There are things that are in my notebooks that I'm like, what is that? Right? What is that? Things like 6th grade bullying. And I'm like, I thought I dealt with that. Thank you very much. Right? Things that are like locked in there have been coming onto the page. And then I look back and say, okay, about relationships, about insecurities, about successes, all of it. And so this is going to be a highly personal experience. There's some sketches you make you want to share and some you don't. And so I leave it up to you on what sketches you want to share. Okay. And to pass is an option, right? And so thinking about this, I'm going to walk you through this process. Here's another possibility of sketching. Now, and the reason why I'm giving you 3 different types is because I want you to think about what kind or style best suits you. This one is more like sketch notes in a way, where there's a lot of words and there's a lot of pictures. Some people need that, right? And so there was a lot of notes in when I was asking, hey, what do you want to what do you want to know? How do you want to know it? A lot of people said they wanted a sketch note. And so I do not want to limit how you sketch. That's up to you. I'm going to share with you how I sketch, but that's the way I do it for me. You got to find the right way for you. Now, this is a sketch I made about the learner profile attributes. a while ago, right? Of different pictures and words and how they came together to talk about the learner profile attributes. So I want to show this to you. Hold on one sec. Going the wrong direction. I'm going to come back to this, come back to this. There it goes. So here we go. So these are the different ways that you can sketch. Okay. I just wanted to point out that there's no one right way. How you sketch is up to you. If you notice, and this is also another reason why I wanted to share those examples with you, you're going here to very basic, right? Very rudimentary, very graphically designed. Here's like one picture where you have words from the text, and we'll go into what that means. You have words that inspire, and then you draw an image to represent what that looks like to you. Or you can go into multiple visuals, kind of like sketchnoting, where you put those words and visuals together and separate them out to create a whole. Does that make sense? So let's poll everyone. So I'm going to call this one here, 1, 2, and 3. Why don't you pop into the chat? Which one speaks more to your soul? Like the type of sketching that you think you're going to do.
What if it's a difficult answer? I can't choose.
It is. It is. Oh, Sunita's like 1.
Because like one time we will do 1, the other time we'll do 2, the other time we'll do 3. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And so you're going to find that I've drawn all of these, right? And it just depends. I love that. Very honest, 1 today, because this is a start. You're right. And I had spent about 6 months in workshops doing this type of sketching before I felt comfortable doing this kind of sketching. I just want to be clarify there. Okay. So maybe 1 is where you begin, and it's a beautiful place to begin. Okay. So with that being said, my little thingy here. Okay. So here's tools. I want to share with you some tools. I'm going to stop share so I can see y'all. All right. So this is going to be the first thing to think about. All right. Do not. Hey, Tati, how are you?
Hi. Hello, everybody. Sorry, I got late.
No. We're just talking. So, okay. So most of us know, like, this is full-size sheet of paper. Me personally, that's too much. That's me. Okay. I'm going to show you the size difference. So we know Misty's book. All right. So my friend, when he got me started on this, gave me a notebook. It was roughly almost the same size, right? But this, you'd be surprised how much that cutting off makes a huge difference. I finished this notebook about 2 months, because you only because you got to remember you're going to be drawing with pen, and you might be color pencils, you might do whatever you like, but the reality is that drawing paper can't be double-sided. And also you don't want the drawings to impose on each other with heat and moisture and all of that. So I only do one side. I finished this while visiting my auntie. I had very limited options. I went to her shop. She had a drawing pad. It was this size. So it was almost 3/4 of that size. Okay. So this one here, you can see it's about 2/3 of the size of like an A4 size paper, right? So, or letter size paper in America. To be honest, this is my favorite size, because less is more. I just ordered, I'm almost done with this one. So I just ordered some new ones. They didn't have this size. They had in between. So I said, okay, whatever. 2 for $12, I'll take it. Right? The cost is a big draw. So think about what's nice about this size is you can make drawings like this that are complete, and you don't have to feel like you have so much page to fill.
Yeah.
Right? Do I like spiral bound? Yes. So Denise, it just so happened all mine were spiral bound, and all the ones on Amazon are spiral bound. So it works for me. Okay. So my recommendation is smaller is better, because then you feel we're just humans. We feel like we have to fill the page, and that's not the point of this. Shaila's just like agreeing. I can see your laughter, my friend, because you know it's the truth. All right. So something else that I love, but you might not like it. I love these pens. They're called Papermates, right? So Papermate flares. They're my favorite. Oh, I should go like that, right? So Papermate flares, they're my favorite. I got 12 of these for like $9.99 off of Amazon. I want to be consistent in my pen usage. The colored pencils, it doesn't matter, but the pen, you want the background sketching to be the same color throughout. One thing I found out is that this blue was not the same exact blue as what I originally started off with, and it slightly made me OCD go crazy, but then I let go. And what's nice is that I can get 12 of these, and so if you lose some, you're not panic attack, you know? And so these really work very well on because you got to also remember the sketch paper, it's a rougher paper. So you need a pen that's going to go over it easily, that it's not going to imprint. And I find the gel rollers they get too stuck into the paper. That's me. And they indent it too much, where then you get the indentation of the prior drawing, you know, onto the new paper. When I use this one, I don't have any indentations. Okay. So that's something logistically, if you're going to spend time doing this, you don't want it to be all mooshed, because what happens is if you are, okay, I'm going to be real with you too. This one, beautiful, color coded. When I first started, this one, I'm almost finished. I haven't colored a single one. Okay. Because I haven't had no time. Okay. Maybe in the summer when I have nothing to do. Well, no, that's when I'm the busiest. But when I'm like, have this miraculous free time that we all wish for, maybe on a plane ride, that's what I'll do. On a plane ride, when I'm, you know, train ride, whatever, I'll color these in, maybe. We'll see. But so that's something to consider about logistically. I just, you know what, to be honest, my mom was a teacher. I inherited, I don't know how she kept all her stationery. I think I still have like 500 glue sticks from,
Wow.
yeah. And I have
I need some.
bag of colored pencils that I use. Just take what you got, you know, don't go out and buying anything. The only thing that you need to buy is the pad. And even then that's negotiable. Okay. So let's get going. So the next thing is the cards or the prompts. This is completely up to you. I had someone, and I addressed it in the video, about religion. Majority of us here, I believe, based on conversations, are very open-minded to utilizing, like many of us in this room believe in chakras and evil eyes and things like that, right? Because we've been exposed to a wider range of belief systems. Some people are against tarot, but I use them differently. I use them for the message, no different than these mindful messages over here. We're going to use both. so that you can see the difference.
Mhm.
These are beautiful. I did not want to overwhelm the first go round, so we're going to keep it simple and use one set of cards. That's it. And then we'll build up to using 2 cards and comparing and contrasting. Okay. But I wanted us to feel comfortable the first couple sessions of just using one set. Okay. So this, I just want to, these Mystic Mondays, and then this card right here, this Goal Crushing, they're on my website. Those are the 2 sets my friend gave me at, for my Christmas present. Okay. And then I ended up buying these mindful messages off of Amazon. I kind of went crazy. All right. Because you kind of get bored with the same thing over and over again, to be honest. So it's kind of nice to switch it up. But there's a lot of free apps as well. I had a really great question. Do we need to buy a lot of cards? No. So like this app right here, CoStar, it's a free app. You can download it, co-star. And this type of message, stay afraid, but do it anyway. That type of message is on CoStar for free, and they give you a free one every day. So you don't need to buy cards. Okay. All right. So now here, oh, I'm going the wrong way. Sorry. My first time doing this in Canva, and I'm not doing it very well. I'm going the wrong direction.
But I've also fallen in love with Canva presentations. I was just looking at it and I was like, oh, dude, this looks good. I thought I was keeping it for the end.
No, but it keeps looping. Here we go. Okay, so now here is the first one that I want to go over. So the Mystic Mondays, they have beautiful cards that are very abstract, like this one. So I'm going to give you some coding that I made for myself. So in every card that's in a tarot deck, actually, that's not the one I wanted. Hold on. Sorry. Oh, it is. Sorry, I take it back. So in this deck, they have this beautiful book. Okay. So if the card is facing up, there's a meaning. And if it's facing down, there's a meaning. Okay. So this one right here, if you notice, King of Cups facing up. And this is what it means. Okay. So we're going to just talk this through of what mental images come to your mind. You don't need to resonate with the whole thing. I will read the whole thing and pick maybe a sentence or 2 that sticks to me right now, because maybe majority of it doesn't reflect who you are right now. And that's okay. All right. So let's look at King of Cups. It says mindfulness is key to making an impact. The King of Cups is able to carry emotions with intention, aptitude, and wit, clearly scoring high on the emotional intelligence test. He is a master of emotions. Sorry for the typos. I was trying to do it fast. And is able to apply humanity in his thinking process and his interaction with others. The level of connection he has with people comes easily, as he is able to relate to different personalities, making him an excellent communicator. The waters are calm even when turbulence is present. He is able to weather the storms and handle hectic situations with finesse and grace. His gift for guidance can heavily influence people, and he enjoys helping others. The King of Cups is a reflection of you or a man in your life. He reminds you to incorporate compassion, whatever the circumstance may be. So as you heard that definition of what it means to be King of Cups, what's a statement that pops out at you, and what does it make you think of?
Okay. We're talking about statements from this
Yes.
the passage, right?
Right.
Something that folks speaks to me is, the waters are calm even when turbulence is present. And I think, and that is what I use it. I don't say I am becoming, as I become older, as I'm becoming wiser. The I think this is something that I am learning, that how to stay calm in any situation, because in a school, and as a leader, you get across so many situations. Like yesterday only, I had two of my teachers crying, right? And I knew it was not a very peaceful situation for them, but I was very happy when I was sitting at night and reflecting that how I dealt the situation. So I could stay calm and help and support them. So yeah, I mean, it's just coming from what happened yesterday. And when I saw this sentence, I just went back to yesterday.
Okay. Perfect. That's exactly what we want to do, Shailaja. So you see yourself kind of as a mediator in that picture.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, go for it, Nadia.
Well, I think when you read this text, what I could just feel is hope. Because, we're seeing a lot of inhuman actions in the world. And now that we are in the process of, doing the PYP exhibition at school, so making a lot of connections to the world around and the issues that people are facing. So I think we all need a King of Cup to bring that hope in life. And it talks about compassion, about humanity, emotions. And I love the statement where it says that the King of Cups is a reflection of you. So as teachers, I think we all will resonate with this, that somewhere we are trying to be the King of Cups.
Absolutely. And she put in empathetic and can understand others. So perfect. Thank you for putting that in the chat. How about you, Denise?
So I read this and actually thought of an actual person in my life. So my wonderful husband, who has been helping me weather a bunch of storms lately and is always just great at kind of smoothing out the waves for me and being my home base when things get really crazy, as they are now. So yeah, that was my connection.
That's awesome. So you'd probably draw some pictures of how he's been calming, right? How about you, Sunita?
Similar, interestingly enough, similar to Denise, that line of the King of Cups is a reflection of you or a man in your life. And that last line, he reminds you to incorporate compassion. That reminded me of my father. He is somebody that it's amazing. He is always compassionate. He's always incorporating our lives into their lives, culture. So, I really reflect on him because he joined the Peace Corps at a very young age. So a white American in Southern India was not was not a thing back when they were young. So in order for him to have enjoyed that experience, learned the language, he had to incorporate those facets.
Awesome. So I'm sharing this with you because we're going to have some times, and we're going to do this today, where we're going to look at something like this, and then you're going to pick out, and then you're going to draw whatever you see. Okay. So I'm going to share with you what I saw. This was the card that I drew the very first time I sketched, because I wanted to share with you what was that like for me, because I didn't know. I was bumbling in this. My friend just handed me the cards and said, here's a journal, draw about what you see. There's no guidebook on this, so I just made it up, right? And so here we go. Oh, if I can get Canva to work. Hold on. There we go. So this was my first ever sketch. So right here, it says King of Cups, mindfulness is key to making impact. And that's the very first line that I noticed, which is the very first line on there, right? And so when I was thinking about mindfulness and making an impact, is that being mindful that we might have fears and we might have hopes, but there has to be a balance between there, right? And during that time, I was very fearful in my own personal life, this at Christmas, the holiday time, because I had no creativity left and I had deadlines approaching that I had to be creative. And I was really fearful that my flame had flickered out. And so that's what this balance represents to me. And then it comes down to, well, how can I use my hands? And this did not come from the card. It came from that Goal Crush cards, okay? And it said, great people do things before they are ready. They do things before they know they can do it. And so I was thinking about, well, how can I leverage my hands, my action component to do things even if I don't feel inspired, right? And just keep going on and try new things, and maybe that'll spark my creativity. And then I came down to here, a big part of that compassion piece. I was talking to my dad that day. Everyone's reflecting on different men in their life. And my dad was talking to me, well, maybe what you need to do is think about focusing on service more, and that will help to spark your creativity a bit. And so then that made me think about, well, okay, I need to focus on service in the work that I'm doing, and not, we have to eat and we can't feel bad about getting a paycheck for what we do. But at the same time, what's our motivation? It's about service, right? And so how do you do service? And that's what the heart here represents to me, the different, like you get an idea of how you're going to do it, then you make a plan, then you apply it, and then you reflect, right? And so that, don't ask me, half of it's not in that mindfulness page or that description. This is what came out of my brain. And so what I'm saying is, it doesn't have to be so, you might have a spark and then the spark goes somewhere else, and that is okay. All right. This isn't a one size fits all. So now we're going to practice it. So let's get our sketches. Okay. We're going to get sketching, and I'm going to sketch with you because I haven't sketched today because I knew we were going to meet. Okay. So now here comes the first, this one here comes from the mindfulness ones. This one's a little bit easier. Okay. And that's why I wanted to start with the sketch first. It's based off of this card, Fuel. Sorry about my photo ability. So I wrote it over here. I enjoy doing things that fuel me. It feels great to do things for myself. And when I make sure I'm taken care of, I can better show up for those in my life and for the work that I do. So what I want you to do right now is to take about 8 minutes. Okay, I'm gonna set a timer if we need a little bit more than that. Great. But we're gonna start off with 8 minutes to draw on your paper. What does that mean to you? How do you fuel yourself so that you can do for yourself and for others? Product that matters, right? This is your very first sketch. Don't be critical to yourself. This is about going through the process of capturing our thinking. And it's also different than when you're by yourself. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to go into breakout rooms for about 10 minutes. I'm going to, hold on one sec. I think that's what I did.
This meeting is being recorded.
Sorry. So thinking about this is like a lot of my drawings terrible in this one, right? But the more I did it and the more I did it repeatedly, like I have no missed days. Were there days where I didn't do it and I made up for it? Yes, because there are days that are just too hectic and you're tired, right? But I'm become a junkie on this, like meaning like I cannot not do it. This is my way of journaling, right? Of getting my emotions out. There have been some days that I've had that were terrible, And this was my therapy on getting those moments out and being able to express it without getting rude or angry at somebody, right? It was my means of therapy of getting it out. So thinking about this for you, how can you then leverage this to make this happen so that it's a form of therapy for you? Now, we love to apply this back to education, but that's not what this is for. This is for you, right? So this is my challenge for you in regard. If you eventually do this with your students, wonderful, but that's not the purpose of the sketch club. This is for you and your identity as a human being on this planet. So what I want you guys to do, so we're going to meet in a couple weeks time. In the next couple weeks, like I know Denise is going to be busy. She's going to be like, Lou, I don't think I'm going to have any brain space in the next week to 2 weeks. But after that amazing conference you're putting on, that I'm going to be a part of, I'm so excited. Not that I'm, okay, anyway, sorry. Is that maybe then think about this. Maybe I'm going to do the magical number of 2. Try to do this twice before we meet the next time. Okay, if you do it more, great. But the reality is when it's brand new and you don't know what you're doing, 2 is maybe all you can handle. So what I want you to do is I want you to, Ragini, are you saying yes, you can handle that for 2? Okay. Why don't we do, try to practice this with 2 drawings with 2 different prompts. All right. If you want me to, I can email you the prompts. That's no problem. I can do that for you. I can pull some cards and pull in their little descriptor, say prompt 1, prompt 2. Does that sound okay? And then you have the prompt, we have the same prompts. And then you just have those 2 prompts reflected on and drawn by the time you come back in a few weeks. So that gives you a couple weeks to take care of that. That sounds good?
Yep.
Yeah? And you're going to ask me when's the next date? I don't know off the top of my head. It's in the email and on the form. I guess I need to pay attention to these things. Because I'm equally like crazed at the moment, but
May 6th, Lou.
May 6th. Perfect. So, we have a few weeks. That's 3 weeks. So I'm going to push up the ante to 3 sketches, 1 per week. Is that fair? You think you can do that?
Yep.
No? Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, then I will give you 3 prompts. If you end up only doing 2, so what? Okay. It's also the end of the school year. All right. And some of us are doing exhibition and some of us are doing crazy stuff. So if you only get 2 done, that's okay. And then what we're going to do is we're going to come back and share and then try to practice and leverage it where we go to a harder prompt. So I'm going to give you 2 prompts that were like today that you guys did that were simple, very short. Okay. So that you get the practice of it. Then we'll go into more complicated. And then eventually we're going to be wielding 2 cards at the same time. Woo! And you're going to be awesome, but that's going to come later. Okie dokie. All right. So is there a wish list for next time of something that you would like to experience? We did a little bit of explanation. We won't do that next time. Okay, perfect. Thank you. But we're going to get right into it. Okay. Then if you guys think later on, hey, I'd love to explore this with the sketching, wonderful. Just shoot me an email. Okay. Everyone should have my email. And so we'll see each other in 3 weeks on this link. Yes, Shailaja.
I just had a question when you asked a question. Is there something that you drew which was a surprise for you?
Ah.
And I just wanted to talk a little about it because I don't know what happened with others. But I thought whatever I drew was very intentional. And what I shared with you yesterday, that I'm also scared when I have to draw or something. So what you were saying, what we want to experience, I mean, and I'm sure, I'm just hoping that maybe eventually we'll reach to a stage where, something which is deep down the heart. I mean, we're not thinking from our mind, but from the heart, and it will eventually come out.
It will. Seriously. The first time, I would say probably the first month I did this every day, it was quite literal. Like I was looking at, okay, what does mindfulness looks like to me? And I would draw about mindfulness. And then after I was doing this quite a few times, then all of a sudden, literally pictures started coming to my mind. And I was like, why is that picture coming to my mind? And I'd ask myself, what picture comes to your mind as you're reading this? And then I would just start drawing it and putting in the details. And it's almost like, lack of a better word, like an out-of-body experience. All of a sudden I'm finished drawing and I'm like, what the heck did I just draw? I have no clue. Because you're so tapped into the process. You're beyond your fear of drawing, of your fear of your ability of drawing. I'm not a great artist. I am not. And but in the beginning, I was afraid of being an artist. Now I could care rat's patoot about that, right? It's more of, I don't really care anymore. Is it symmetrical? Does it look well placed? I don't care about that junk. I care more about what's on the page. Yeah. And I just let the creativity take over. But it will eventually happen for you, Shailaja, the more you practice this. And that's why we're going to stretch ourselves to practice it slowly and build up to level of sophistication. Okay?
Awesome.
Sounds good?
What to
All
do
right,
if you smudge yours? I've just done that.
Then you smudge it,
It
right?
was so nice. It was so nice, but then I decided to just.
Well, but that's part of the artistic experience.
True.
Right? And it's also about the medium you use, and there's no limit to what we use, right? So, and it's also part of the imperfection is what makes it beautiful though too.
True.
You got to remember that. I mean, I'm kind of philosophical on that, but it's, it's the truth. So, oh, I just saw Denise's chat of fur babies. Yes, everyone has fur babies. Those animals that speak to our heart. All right, well, I'm gonna end it now, my friends. And hopefully I recorded everything correctly. If not, oh well. I mean, you'll either have the first half or the second half. I don't know which half you'll get. But we'll make sure that to post it. And then what I'm going to start doing is posting the video recording, so in case you miss or whatever, so that you can catch it, and it'll just always be on my website. Okay. And I will email you guys my link to the website, because I'm putting all of the Sketch Club has its own tab, so that we can chronicle our journey, right? And if there's any drawings that you feel very compelled and you want to share with the community, we'll put drawings up there. And I'm going to start sharing some of the drawings that I'm sharing with you, putting them there as well. Okay. So that we build this community. So that's it, my friends.